Hi. I did my first performance ever in Jerusalem on my bar mitzvah. That's my 13th birthday, when every good Jewish boy is expected to overnight become a man. That day, I stood on a bima, a little stage in the synagogue, and I delivered a speech to the entire congregation. My parents, school children, the teachers, everyone was there. I promised I would do everything for the country, for my parents, and for the cause of Israel. And I read a portion of the Torah, something like Ve'hotzienu Adonai miMitzrayim, etc., etc. And I had to I laid Tefillin for the first time in public. All that on the cusp of adolescence. So, to get me ready for that big day, as soon as I turned 12, the pressure was on. There was a deadline. To get ready for that big event, every Tuesday after school, I would go to the rabbi. On the way to the rabbi, I would put on my kippah. That particular Tuesday was a sharav. Hot winds were blowing from the Judean desert. It's August in Jerusalem. The windows were wide open. Outside, I could hear the girls skipping rope. Tapuach anavim adgas, tapuach anavim adgas, tapuach. I wish I was out there with the girls. Pay attention! I could hear the rabbi's voice. Yes, I know you wish you were out there with the girls, but you're not a girl, you're a boy. And your parents are working so hard to pay my tuition. Okay, I brought my attention back to the room. Today, boys, we're going to learn about some very holy items. We will start with the talit. The talit is a Jewish prayer shawl. It has 4 corners, and each corner has a tzitzit. The tzitzit is there to remind us to do the commandments, the mitzvot. And as you know, boys, we have 613 commandments. And most of them are about how we treat one another. And some of them is between us and the Almighty. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher tzivanu להתעטף בטלית. Rabbi Eliezer says you should wear the talit over your head for a more meditative state. No cruising in synagogue. And now, boys, we'll go from the holy prayer shawl to the holies of holies, the Tefillin. First, the Tefillin shel Yad. The Tefillin shel Yad you place on your left arm. It's a wooden box. It's got the scriptures, again, to remind us about the commandments. You place it on your bare skin. Make sure you tie it tight enough to feel it, but not too tight to lose circulation. 7 times below the elbow, and then 3 times in the middle knuckle, twice on the second knuckle of the little finger. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher tzivanu lehaniach tefillin. And boys, that was 3 times below the knuckle of the middle finger, twice in the middle knuckle, and the rest of the retzuah. The retzuah is the leather strap you tie tightly around your hand so it doesn't become undone. Now, for the last item, boys, we have the Tefillin shel Rosh. Again, the scriptures to remind us who we are, to do our 613 commandments, at least a few of them, daily. We place it on our head so that it faces our crown. And the Retzuot boys, you let them drop on your chest. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Okay, boys, I hope you all got all that, because next time you'll have to do it for us, each of you. I myself, I didn't quite get it that first time. It's a bit complicated. So the rabbi suggested I get together before the next class, before next Tuesday, and practice with one of the other boys. Yossi volunteered. Next day, after class, we went over to Yossi's house. Way back, behind Yossi's parents' house, there's a big fig tree. The leaves were still full. It's August in Jerusalem. We went underneath the leaves, underneath the big branches of the fig tree. And I had my tefillin, Yossi had his tefillin, and I began, Baruch atah Adonai, and then Yossi said, Ruven, why pray? The rabbi's not here, and God, there is no God. There is no God. Just to err on the safe side. And then when we were done, Yossi said, hey Ruven, why don't you lean against the tree? And he gave me a slight push. And I could feel the cold bark of the fig tree against my back. And then Yossi said, he looked at me and he said, look what I can do. And Yossi pulled down his khaki shorts, and he pulled down his underwear, and then he took his Retzuot shel Rosh, and he tied it 3 times around his cock, and twice around his balls. And I was thinking, oh my God, what if Mother saw us? What if the rabbi knew? What if the tree went up in flames? And that, you know, has happened before. Then Yossi said, why don't you put your hands behind the tree? And I wanted to say no, but Yossi had such a take charge attitude. So I let him, and he tied my hands behind the tree. And then he said, well, now it's your turn. And he pulled down my shorts, and he tied my cock through 3 times around the cock and twice around the balls. And then he said, let's try and tying the ends of your Retzuot with my Retzuot. And then we tied the ends together, and Yossi was leaning against me, and I was leaning against the tree, and we started moving faster and faster and faster, and the whole tree started shaking to all sides, and these things, these boulders, started falling from the sky. Oh my God, but Yossi reached out and caught one of the ripe figs. They were so ripe, their juice was oozing out from the peel. And then Yossi proceeded to feed me one of these figs. That was the tastiest fruit I've ever tasted. There must be a prayer, I thought, for this kind of wrapping. The wrapping that ties together the queer me and the Jewish me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani homo. That translates, thank you God for making me queer.